I was less than 5 minutes into my first date when I realized he already knew where I lived. That was the first thing that didn't make sense. The second was the knife. My name is Lena Hart. I'm 25 and I live in a small apartment in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I work as a receptionist at a dental clinic, answer phones all day, smile at strangers, go home, eat microwave food, scroll, sleep, and repeat. Dating apps were my social life. Swipe, match, dry jokes, ghosting. After a while, all the faces blurred together. But 3 weeks ago, one profile made me stop. His name was Eli Grant. Black hoodie, messy dark hair, tired green eyes, bio. Night shift paramedic. I see the worst of people, just looking for someone good. He didn't call me baby or ask for pictures. He asked about my favorite TV show, about my job, and about my sister who lives 2 states away. He sent voice notes when I said I liked hearing people talk more than reading texts. His voice was calm and steady, a little rough, like he hadn't slept enough, but it felt kind. 3 weeks of messages and late-night calls. It felt like we'd known each other for months, so when he asked, "Can I finally take you out? Somewhere quiet, somewhere safe," I said yes. We picked a little diner on the edge of town, near the old industrial district. I should have said no just for that last detail. I didn't. That night, I stood in front of the bathroom mirror, staring at my reflection. Black jeans, a soft blue sweater, and hair tied back so I wouldn't fiddle with it. My hands still shook. "You're overreacting," I muttered to myself. My roommate Tasha leaned on the doorframe, arms crossed. "I just don't like that you've never done a video call with him." "We've voice called," I said. "He works nights. He says he hates how he looks in hospital scrubs." She raised one eyebrow. "Yeah, okay, but catfish also hate FaceTime." I rolled my eyes, but her words sat heavy in my chest. "He's a paramedic, Tash. He literally sent me a picture from an ambulance with his name tag." She snorted. "People fake police uniforms for TikTok. That doesn't mean anything." My phone buzzed. "Eli, here, outside your building." A second later, "No rush, take your time." My stomach dropped. "How does he know which one is our building?" I whispered. "You shared your location with him, remember?" Tasha said. "When you were drunk and paranoid about late shifts." I remembered now. That night when I walked home in the rain and sent him a pin, joking, "If I die, at least you'll know where the body is." It wasn't funny anymore. "Text me when you get there," Tasha said, her voice suddenly serious. "And share your location again. If you stop moving for too long, I'm calling the cops." I laughed, but it sounded thin. "You watch too many crime shows." She didn't laugh back. The night air was colder than I expected. Streetlights hummed, buzzing yellow halos over the cracked pavement. A dark gray SUV idled at the curb, engine low and heavy. The driver's window rolled down. It was him, or someone. He looked like his pictures, but older, more tired. Dark circles under his eyes, stubble heavier than in the photos. A paramedic jacket with the city logo lay folded on the passenger seat. "Lena?" he asked. His voice matched the one from the calls. That helped. "A little, yeah," I said, forcing a smile. He climbed out and came around to open the door for me. "You look even better in person," he said. No creepy stare, no lingering eyes, just a quick glance, a soft smile. For a few minutes I relaxed. The SUV smelt faintly of coffee and disinfectant wipes. A small first aid kit sat between the seats. "Sorry if this is weird," he said as we pulled away. "I came straight from a shift, didn't have time to change." "It's fine," I said. "Makes you look official." He laughed quietly. "Yeah, nothing more romantic than trauma shears and blood stains." I laughed too, more out of nerves than anything else. We drove past familiar blocks, then less familiar ones. Houses turned to warehouses. Streetlights grew farther apart. I checked the time. It was only 8:20, but it felt later out here. "So," I said, trying to fill the silence. "Crazy night." He tapped the steering wheel. "A couple of overdoses, one car accident, same as always." "Same as always." He said it flat, like it meant nothing. I noticed his knuckles then. The skin around them was faintly bruised, like he'd punched something harder than a steering wheel. "Are you okay?" I asked, nodding toward his hand. He glanced at it, then away. "Yeah, just had to restrain someone. Sometimes people fight you when you're trying to help them." His tone was too calm, too used to it. We passed a dark gas station with only one flickering light working. The diner was supposed to be nearby. I checked the map on my phone to be sure. The blue dot moved. So did another small gray dot beneath it. Shared live location, Eli G. My throat tightened. I hadn't opened that link in weeks, but the sharing never stopped. I turned the screen off quick. Cly not wanting him to see. The diner appeared a minute later. A squat building with neon letters half burnt out. Only a few cars in the lot. Inside it was warmer. Smelled like old coffee and grease. A waitress with tired eyes led us to a booth by the window. "This is nice," I said, trying to sound casual. "Best pancakes in the city," he replied. "Even at night, you'll see." We ordered. The first minutes felt normal. He joked about terrible night shifts, annoying patients, and weird calls. I told him about crazy dental customers, people who yelled about bills. I watched his face as he talked. He barely blinked. When he laughed, it was always a second too late, like he was copying the idea of laughter, not feeling it. The food arrived. I picked up my fork. That's when I saw it. Something small and silver flashed near his hip when he reached across the table. It was clipped inside his jacket. Not a pen, not scissors, a folding knife, black handle worn around the edges, easy to grab. My mouth went dry. "Everything okay?" he asked. "Yeah," I said quickly. "Just hot," I added, pretending to blow on my food. He smiled. "You look nervous. Don't worry. If anything happens, you've got a paramedic with you." The words were meant to comfort. They didn't. We ate in silence for a while. The diner door chimed sometimes when people entered or left. Each time he glanced up sharply, eyes scanning, jaw tight. "So," he said suddenly, voice low, "you live with that girl who opened the door earlier?" I blinked. "Tasha, yeah." "Why?" He shrugged. "Just noticed the second toothbrush in the bathroom last week." My fork froze midair. "Last week," I repeated. He took a sip of coffee. "When you fell asleep on the phone. Left the video on by accident. I saw the hallway behind you. Same striped rug you have now. Third floor corner unit right, near the fire escape." The room tilted. "I've never shown you my hallway," I said. My voice sounded small and far away. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "I'm good with details. How do you know which floor I'm on?" I whispered. He tapped the side of his head. "I pick people up for emergencies all the time. Recognize buildings, patterns, cars." He leaned a little closer. "That red Civic that parks crook next to the dumpster. You come out around 7 most morning. You always look tired, cute but tired." My heart slammed against my ribs. "How many times have you been near my place?" I asked. He didn't blink. "Enough to know you shouldn't walk alone at night." My stomach turned. I pushed my plate away. "I think I'm done. Can you take me home now?" The air around us seemed to shift. His jaw tightened and his fingers curled slowly on the table. "We just got here," he said softly. "I've waited 3 weeks for this." "Just not feeling well," I said. "Please." He watched me for a long moment. Then he smiled again, too slow, too wide. "Sure," he said. "Let me just pay." He left his jacket on the seat. The knife stayed inside it. I stared at it like it might move. My hands shook as I pulled my phone under the table. "Lena, right arrow Tasha. Call me in 1 min emergency. Loud, don't stop talking." I hit send and prayed she saw it. Eli returned, shrugging his jacket back on in one smooth motion. "Ready?" We stepped into the cold night. The parking lot felt bigger than before, emptier. The nearest streetlight buzzed overhead like an insect. My phone rang. "Hey." I answered too loudly. Yeah, I'm on my way." "No, she's okay." I let Tasha talk fast in my ear, playing along like there was some crisis at home. "What's going on?" Eli asked, his voice sharper now. "My roommate," I said. "Her ex showed up. I have to go now. I'm sorry." He stared at me. The calm left his face. For a second, something darker showed through, something hungry. "I can come up with you," he said. "I know how to handle violent guys." "No," I said quickly. "The police are already on their way." That part was a lie, but his eyes flickered. "Oh," he said. He looked at the road, then back at me. "Fine," he sighed. "I'll drive you." The ride back was silent. No music, no jokes, just the hum of the engine and my own heartbeat. He pulled up to my building and didn't put the car in park. "You know," he said quietly, eyes fixed ahead. "Most people don't appreciate someone keeping an eye on them. They call it stalking." My fingers found the door handle slowly. "Thank you for the ride," I said, "and for caring, I guess, but please don't come near my building again." He finally turned to look at me. His face was blank for a long, terrible moment, then he smiled. "You think you're safe because you said that," he whispered. Lena, if someone really wants to hurt you, words won't stop them. My blood ran cold, but I'm not that guy, he added. Yet, I pushed the door open and stumbled out, nearly tripping on the curb. "Good night, Eli," I said, and slammed the door before he could respond. I didn't look back as I walked to the entrance. My hands shook so badly I almost dropped my keys. I only turned around. Once I was inside the building, behind the locked glass door, he was still there, engine running, watching. He lifted 2 fingers in a small, lazy salute. Then the SUV rolled away into the dark. I blocked his number that night, deleted the app, told Tasha everything. We called the non-emergency line. The officer who came took notes, nodded, and said, "If he didn't actually threaten you, there's not much we can do, but call us if he shows up again." I stopped sleeping well after that. I changed my route to work, stopped wearing headphones outside, started checking every car that slowed near the building. Sometimes, late at night, I heard an engine idling under my window and froze, counting breaths until it left. It's been 3 months, no more messages, no more gray SUV, but the fear didn't leave. Because now I know this: if a stranger on a first date knows more about your life than you ever told them, they haven't just been waiting to meet you, they've been practicing. I knew something was wrong the moment he sat down. Not because he was late, not because he looked different from his photos, but because in the first 10 minutes he didn't blink. Not once. "My name is Riley James. I'm 24 and I live in Portland, Oregon. I work nights at a pet boarding center, cleaning kennels and refilling water bowls while listening to true crime podcasts I pretend don't scare me. Dating wasn't on my priority list. Too many weirdos, too many awkward talks. Too many men who said lol after every sentence." Subsequently, I encountered Adrian Vaughn through an application I had only downloaded as a result of my coworker's challenge. He was simple: no gym selfies, no fishing photos, no shirtless mirror flexes. Just a clean white button-up, soft brown hair, and a calm smile. Bio: introvert looking for someone quiet. That alone felt rare. We talked for 2 weeks, small conversations at first, then deeper ones. He liked books, old films, and long walks. He asked thoughtful questions and never pushed for anything weird. A quiet man with quiet intentions, but there was something odd. When we texted late at night, he always replied instantly, like he was staring at the phone, waiting. Nevertheless, after enduring a week of noisy colleagues and barking dogs, a tranquil individual seemed like paradise. So when he suggested a date at a small tea house on the east side, I agreed. I shouldn't have. The place was cozy when I walked in: dim lights, soft music, shelves of loose-leaf teas. Every table but one was empty, and there he was. "Riley," he said softly when I approached. "You came." He stood to greet me, perfectly polite, but his movements were stiff, measured, like a robot practicing being human. Then he sat down and looked at me, just looked, no blinking, no shifting, no glance away. At first, I chalked it up to nerves. But throughout the menu, throughout the small talk, and throughout the awkward laugh I forced, his eyes never moved. "You like jasmine tea?" he asked in a calm, even tone. His lips smiled, his eyes didn't. Sure," I said. He nodded once slowly and signaled the waiter without turning his head. It was as if he sensed the waiter's presence rather than actually seeing him. The hair on my arms rose. 5 minutes in, I noticed something else: his breathing. It wasn't right. It was too slow, too steady. Like someone counting in their head. Inhale, hold, exhale, hold, exactly 3 seconds each. No variation, no natural rhythm, just controlled. "Your pictures didn't do you justice," he said. "Thanks," I muttered, uncomfortable under his direct stare. He tilted his head, studying me like a puzzle piece he wasn't sure where to place. "You work nights," he said. "That's unusual for your personality type." My stomach tight. "I never told you that." "Yes, you did," he said calmly. 2 nights ago. In a message. "No," I said slowly. "I didn't." He blinked finally, but only once, slow and deliberate, like he was doing it because he remembered people were supposed to. "You must have forgot," he he said. I hadn't. I never told him. Something cold crawled up my spine. Our drinks arrived. Mine smelled like flowers and comfort. His was untouched. Steam rose from it, curling into the air, but he didn't lift the cup, didn't sip, didn't even look at it. He just watched me. So, I said cautiously, "What do you do for work?" His expression didn't change. I observe. That's vague. It's enough for what I tried to laugh it off, but the air felt heavy, thick. People passed outside the window, blurry shadows behind the glass. I wished I was one of them. You seem uncomfortable, he said. You're staring a lot, I blurted. He tilted his head again. I'm studying you. Why? I whispered. A slow smile stretched across his face, too slow, too practiced. To understand you better. I swallowed hard. You don't need to study me like that. Yes, I do. His voice was never raised, never shifted, perfectly calm, too calm. Then he said the words that froze me in place. I chose you for a reason. I forced a laugh. Okay, well, this has been weird. I'm going to go. He leaned forward slightly. But you haven't even finished your tea. I stood anyway, grabbing my purse with trembling fingers. His eyes followed me, finally moving, but the rest of him stayed perfectly still. Riley, he said softly. My heart hammered. I know what happened to your brother. I stopped. The room spun. My throat dried. My what? He smiled gently, like he enjoyed my fear. He died in a car accident when you were 17. You were in the passenger seat. You blame yourself, though it wasn't your fault. I felt sick. How do you know that? I whispered. You posted an old photo once, he said. I found the obituary, the police report, the trauma counseling you received afterward. My legs nearly gave out. You shouldn't have looked that up, I said, voice shaking. I needed to, he replied, to understand why you're so guarded. My breathing hitched. This date is over. I backed away, but he stood too slowly. USH. You wouldn't walk alone, he said. I can take you home. No, I snapped. Stay away from me. He stepped toward me. I bolted. I ran out into the cold night, breath puffing in clouds, heart exploding in my chest. Behind me, the tea house door creaked open. Riley, his calm voice floated out. You're making this more difficult. I sprinted toward the street. A car approached, a woman driving with her window cracked. Help, I yelled, waving frantically. Please, please let me in. She saw my face and unlocked the door without hesitation. I jumped inside, slamming it shut. Adrian stepped into the streetlight, staring at us, still not blinking, still perfectly calm. He didn't chase the car, he just watched. As we pulled away, I saw him lift his hand in a small wave, like he already knew we'd meet again. I filed a report, blocked his number, deleted the app, but it didn't end there. 2 weeks later, a small white envelope appeared under my door. Inside, it was a single sheet of paper, no message, no signature, just 3 words written in neat handwriting. You blink too much. The first night I stayed at that hostel, I realized something was wrong. Not because the room felt old, not because the hallway lights flickered, but because when I turned off the lamp, someone breathed inside the room, someone I hadn't seen. My name is Maya Clark, I'm 23, and I was traveling alone across New Mexico after quitting a job that was draining the life out of me. I wanted adventure, freedom. I desired an experience devoid of fluorescent office lights or passive-aggressive emails. Everything was fine until I booked a bed at Desert Trail Hostel, the cheapest place in town. The photos looked worn but harmless. Shared kitchen, shared bathrooms, 4-bed dorm, nothing unusual. The problem started the moment I walked in. The check-in area was empty when I arrived except for an elderly woman behind the counter. Her gray hair was pinned neatly, her smile too tight, like she'd practiced it but didn't actually feel anything. You're the girl staying in room 14, she said without checking the computer. Yes, I replied slowly. You'll like it. Quiet, then under her breath, almost too soft to hear, most nights. A chill crawled up my spine. She slid the key toward me but didn't let go immediately, her eyes locked onto mine. If you hear anything after midnight, she whispered, just stay in your bed, don't move. Before I could ask what she meant, A group of tourists entered and she put her fake smile back on. I told myself she was just odd. Every hostel had characters. I was wrong. Room 14 was dark and cold, the curtains drawn even though sunlight pressed through the edges. 4 metal bunk beds, thin mattresses, and 1 flickering ceiling fan. My bed was the lower bunk closest to the window. Only 1 other bed looked used, a messy top bunk near the bathroom. Clothes thrown over the rail, a backpack on the floor. Guess I have a roommate, I muttered, but the room was empty. I unpacked, showered, and headed out for dinner. When I returned at 10 p.m., the top bunk light was on and someone's hoodie hung off the side, but still no roommate. I tried to sleep anyway. At 11:45, the hallway light seeped through the cracks under the door and the hostel fell silent. At 12:03, I woke to the sound of breathing, slow, deep, right above me. Finally, my roommate was back, but something felt off. The breathing was too close, too heavy. Like the person was inches from the edge of the bed, leaning down, listening to me. I forced myself to stay still. Maybe they were just weird. Maybe they didn't want to talk, but then I felt it. Warm air brushed across my cheek. Someone was standing beside my bed watching. My eyes snapped open. No one. The room was empty. The breathing stopped instantly. I sat up quickly, heart pounding, scanning the shadows. Top bunk empty, bathroom silent, the door was still locked from the inside. Every hair on my arm stood up. Someone had been right next to me and they weren't there anymore. I barely slept. The moment the sun came up, I went to the front desk. The same elderly woman sat there eating cereal. I think someone came into my room last night, I said. My roommate maybe. She squinted at me. You don't have a roommate. I blinked. What? Someone's stuff is on the bed. Her expression hardened. No one has checked into that bed for 3 months. I laughed nervously. Maybe someone sneaked in. They would have triggered the hallway sensor, she said. It logs every movement. Then whose bag is it? I snapped. She lifted her mug, took a slow sip, and said something I'll never forget. Some guests never check out properly. Before I could ask, a man walked by and interrupted. When I looked back at her, she pretended she hadn't said anything. I returned to room 14, ready to confront whatever was going on, but the top bunk was spotless. No hoodie, no backpack. No clothes, no signs it had ever been slept in. Okay, I whispered shakily. Nope, I packed my things and decided I'd switch to another hostel for the second night, but by late afternoon a dust storm swept into town, hard winds, near zero visibility. Roads closed, buses canceled. Everyone told me the same thing, just stay where you are, you can transfer tomorrow. I didn't want to, but I didn't have a choice. Night 2, I locked the door, triple-checked the latch. Pulled the blankets up under my chin and kept the lamp on. 11:55 p.m. Silence. 12:01 a.m. A soft creak above me. I froze. Another creak, then a shift of weight. Someone was on the top bunk. My throat closed. Slowly I leaned and peeked upward. A silhouette. A person sat on the edge of the top bunk, their head bent at an unnatural angle, hair hanging down like wet ropes. They didn't move, didn't breathe, didn't blink. My mouth went dry. My voice wouldn't come out. I reached toward my phone to call the front desk. It fell from the top bunk, not dropped, placed right next to my pillow. Cold fingers brushed my hand. I choked on a scream and rolled out of the bed, sprinting to the light switch. The room exploded in brightness. The top bunk was empty. My phone lay perfectly net at the edge of my mattress. My hand was still ice cold where the fingers touched. I ran out, heart slamming, and pounded on the front desk window until the old woman came. She didn't look surprised. You weren't supposed to look, she said calmly. They don't like being seen. My voice cracked. Who is in that room? She lowered her gaze. Room 14 used to be for long-term stays. Travelers who stayed for weeks, months, people running from their pasts. People who arrived alone and died alone. She paused. One of them never left, not properly. My skin crawled. She handed me a different key. Sleep in room 7 tonight, she said softly, and do not return to 14. I should have left the hostel entirely, but the storm hadn't ended and I was shaking too strongly to walk outside. I went to room 7 and locked the door. It was quiet, too quiet, but I didn't see anything that night. When morning came, I checked out immediately. The woman handed me a small paper bag with my breakfast. Inside was my missing sock. This was the sock I had placed on the top bunk railing the first night, using it as a bookmark for my towel. Clean. Folded. Someone had gone into room 14 again, someone who wasn't alive. I left without looking back. It's been 5 months since that trip. I don't stay in hostels anymore. I don't sleep near bunk beds. I don't sleep in dark rooms at all. Because sometimes, late at night, I swear I hear it again, that slow, heavy breathing, right next to my bed. And every now and then, I wake up to find something in my room folded neatly on the floor. Something I didn't leave there, something I never see move. The object remains motionless until the illumination disappears. I always thought the worst part of working the night shift was staying awake. I was wrong. The worst part was realizing the only customer in the store wasn't one at all. My name is Jordan Hale. I'm 26 and I work the overnight shift at a small convenience store off Highway 47 in Riverside, California. It's one of those half-lit stores with dusty shelves and a soda machine that randomly screams like it's haunted. Most nights were quiet, truckers stopping for coffee. Lost tourists asking for directions. Teenagers were buying candy at 2 a.m., believing it to be an act of rebellion, nothing dangerous, until the night he walked in. It was 1:14 a.m., my slowest hour. I was counting snack bars, trying not to fall asleep, when the automatic door slid open. A tall man stepped inside, gray hoodie, dark jeans. His face was lowered, as if he was trying to hide from the camera. He didn't look around, didn't glance at the shelves, didn't acknowledge me. He just walked straight to the back of the store, turned into the cleaning supply aisle and stopped there. Not moving, not browsing, just standing. I watched him for 10 seconds, then 20, then a full minute. Still, no movement. "Can I help you find something?" I called, no reaction. He didn't turn, didn't flinch, didn't breathe loud enough to hear. He just stood with his back to me, hands by his sides. The cameras hummed softly overhead. The store felt too small suddenly. I cleared my throat louder. "Sir. We close that aisle for mopping soon." "Nothing." I forced a laugh. "Okay, just let me know if you need anything." He didn't need anything, he needed me. At 1:22 a.m. he turned, not like a normal person, not with a small pivot. He turned in one slow, stiff motion, like every joint in his body cracked at the same time. His face was still lowered, hidden by the shadow of the hood, but I saw his mouth. He was smiling. A thin, unnatural smile pulled too wide. He took one step toward me. I stepped back, he took another. I gripped the counter edge. "Sir, if you need to buy something, you can bring it up here," I said, voice shaking. He took 3 more steps, all slow, measured, silent. He only stopped when he reached the halfway point between us. Then he lifted his head. There was no emotion on his face, no expression. His eyes were blank and heavy-lidded, staring right through me like he wasn't looking at a person but a wall. My skin crawled. "Is everything okay?" I asked. He opened his mouth, but no sound came out. He just stared. Then finally he whispered, so low I barely heard it through the glass counter, "Do you work alone?" Every instinct screamed, every alarm in my brain went off. The only rule on the night shift, never tell someone you're alone, so I lied. "No, my manager S in the back." The man tilted his head. "Is he?" His voice was wrong. It sounded as if he was trying to imitate a human tone but was failing. I pressed the panic button under the counter, the silent alarm that dialed the police. But he didn't move toward me. Instead, he walked slowly to aisle 3, picked up a plastic bottle of bleach, held it up, stared at it for a long moment. Then he placed it back down exactly where it belonged, perfectly aligned, perfectly straight. Then he did the same thing with a sponge. Next, he cleaned with a mop. Next, he picked up a box of trash bags. He wasn't shopping, he was arranging things. I realized then, everything he had touched was cleaning-related: bleach, disinfectant, mops, tools you use when you're preparing to clean something or someone. 1:29 a.m. I sent a discreet text to my coworker who lived nearby. "Jordan, weird guy, won't leave, call me now." Before I could put the phone down, it buzzed. A call. I grabbed it like a lifeline. "Hey, sorry, can you?" My coworker's panicked voice cut through the line. "Jordan, your store lights someone S in the parking lot." He's just standing there, watching the door. My blood froze. What? I whispered. I was driving by. He's wearing black. He's not moving. My eyes flicked to the glass doors. A tall man stood outside, not the man in the hoodie, someone else. He was turned directly toward the store, not blinking, not shifting, just watching. There are two of them, I whispered. The man inside slowly turned his head toward the entrance like he heard me. Even though I'd spoken quietly into the phone, he didn't look scared. He looked excited, then he smiled wider. I dropped the phone. The man inside began walking toward me, slowly, heavy, deliberate steps. I stumbled backward until I hit the stockroom door. He stopped at the counter, leaned his head toward me and whispered, "You shouldn't have called anyone." My voice cracked. "Leave, now." He tapped the glass counter twice, like knocking on a tombstone. Then he said something even worse. "We didn't come for the store." My hands shook so violently I could barely grip the door handle. "We came for you." I ran. I locked myself inside the stockroom and shoved crates in front of the door. My breathing was loud and uneven. I could hear footsteps on the other side. Slow, dragging, then a new sound. There was the gentle tapping of two knuckles on the wood. Tap, tap, tap. "Jordan," he whispered. He knew my name. I never told him. "Come out." I didn't move. He jiggled the handle, then silence for 10 seconds, 20, 30, then the bell above the entrance chimed. Someone entered. Voices. "Police." I pushed the crates aside and rushed out, shaking. The store was empty except for the officers. No hooded man, no man outside, no footprints, no camera footage. The entire system froze at 1:14 a.m., right when he walked in. The cleaning aisle was untouched. No bleach bottle moved, no mop displaced, as if he hadn't been there at all. But on the counter right where he stood sat somewhere small, a folded receipt, blank except for two handwritten words. "Next time." That was 6 months ago. I quit the job, moved apartments. I adjusted my schedule accordingly. But twice now I found things outside my new door at night. A sponge. I also discovered a bottle of bleach outside my new door. And last week, the receipt from a convenience store was crumpled. The handwriting on the receipt was identical. The receipt bears the same two words, "next time."